What if I told you there's a world with a beating heart? A heart made of ice that's been alive for millions of years, slowly devouring everything around it. What if I told you this world has mountains taller than the Rockies, except they're made of water harder than steel, and some of them are floating like ships on a poisoned sea? What if I told you this world is snowing red organic molecules, the same building blocks that created life on Earth, and beneath its frozen surface, there might be an ocean, a liquid water ocean, 40 times farther from the sun than we are? And what if I told you we declared this world dead, unworthy? We erased it from our list of planets until NASA discovered we were catastrophically wrong. The 24th of August, 2006, the International Astronomical Union votes. After 76 years as the ninth planet, Pluto is demoted, reclassified as a dwarf planet. Children write letters begging NASA to reinstate it. Scientists protest. It feels like cosmic betrayal. But here's what nobody knew. A spacecraft was already on its way. NASA's New Horizons, launched 7 months before the demotion, was hurtling toward Pluto at 36,000 miles per hour, the fastest object ever launched, and it was about to reveal that Pluto was far more alive than anyone imagined. To the 14th of July, 2015, after 9 years and 3 billion miles, New Horizons screams past Pluto at 31,000 miles per hour. It has just hours to capture data before the tiny world disappears forever. The images arrive. Scientists stare in disbelief. There, dominating Pluto's surface, is a heart, a massive, gleaming, heart-shaped plane stretching 600 miles across, perfectly smooth, no craters, just flawless ice shining in dim sunlight. They name it Sputnik Planitia, and the more they study it, the more impossible it becomes. That heart is made of nitrogen ice. But this isn't dead, frozen nitrogen. This ice is alive. It's convecting, churning, like a massive lava lamp, heated from below. Deep inside Pluto, radioactive elements are decaying, releasing heat. That heat rises through the nitrogen glacier, creating enormous convection cells. Hot nitrogen rises, spreads out, cools, then sinks back down. The entire plane is divided into polygonal cells, each 10 to 25 miles wide, constantly rotating. Each cycle lasts 500,000 years, which means Pluto's heart has been beating for millions of years. And it's still beating right now. But here's the eerie part. Sputnik Planitia is consuming Pluto. The nitrogen glacier is so massive, it's dragging Pluto's surface into itself. New Horizons spotted ancient craters being slowly swallowed, filled in, erased. The heart is devouring Pluto's scars. Now look at the edges. Mountains. Jagged peaks rising 11,000 feet, higher than the Rockies. And here's where physics breaks. Those mountains are made of water ice. But at negative 390 degrees Fahrenheit, water doesn't behave like ice. It behaves like bedrock. Water ice is harder than granite, stronger than concrete. These aren't fragile structures. They're fortresses, and some are floating. NASA scientists believe some water ice peaks are drifting across the nitrogen glacier like icebergs because nitrogen ice is slightly less dense than water ice. So these colossal mountains, miles high, made of ice harder than steel, are floating across Pluto's heart like ships on a toxic sea. Floating mountains. On a world we said was dead, now the snow. Pluto has an atmosphere incredibly thin, but it's there. Nitrogen, methane, carbon monoxide, and ultraviolet light from the distant sun is hitting methane molecules, breaking them apart and creating complex organic compounds called tholins. These tholins are reddish-brown, and they're constantly raining down like snow. But here's what makes it fascinating. Tholins are organic molecules, carbon-based, the same compounds that might have been precursors to life on early Earth. Pluto is being dusted in organic chemistry, the building blocks of biology, falling from the sky for billions of years. But the biggest mystery is underneath. Sputnik Planitia sits inside a massive impact crater. Billions of years ago, something enormous slammed into Pluto, creating this basin. Then it filled with nitrogen ice. Here's the problem. That much ice is heavy. It should cause Pluto to reorient itself. The heavy side should migrate toward the equator. Pluto should tip over, but it didn't. Sputnik Planitia is still exactly where the impact happened. The heart is locked in place, permanently facing Pluto's largest moon, Charon. Why? The only explanation is terrifying. There's an ocean, a subsurface ocean of liquid water beneath Pluto's frozen crust. That ocean is acting as a counterweight, balancing the nitrogen glacier and preventing Pluto from flipping. An ocean on a world where the surface is negative 390 degrees, a world 40 times farther from the sun than Earth. But deep beneath the ice, insulated by miles of frozen crust, warmed by radioactive decay, liquid water might exist. And where there's liquid water, there's a possibility for life. Now Pluto's companion. Charon is so big that Pluto and Charon don't orbit each other normally. They orbit a point in empty space between them, the barycenter, two worlds, forever staring at each other across the void. Charon's north pole is stained blood red, Mordor macula. The stain is made of tholins that escaped Pluto's gravity and settled on Charon's ice. Pluto is literally painting its companion red. Then there are 4 smaller moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, Hydra. New Horizons discovered they're tumbling chaotically through space. Unlike most moons that rotate in sync, these moons spin wildly, destabilized by Pluto and Charon's gravitational interactions. Cosmic dice rolling endlessly through the dark. So let's summarize. Pluto has a nitrogen heart, actively convecting for millions of years. Mountains made of water. Ice harder than granite that float. Organic snow constantly raining down. A possible subsurface ocean. An atmosphere that glows blue when backlit. A binary moon system unlike anything else. 4 chaotic tumbling moons. And we called it insignificant. Here's the truth. Pluto is one of the most geologically active, chemically complex worlds in the solar system. More dynamic than Mars. More active than our moon. It has weather, seasons, glaciers that flow, mountains that drift, and possibly an ocean. And it's doing all this in one of the most hostile environments imaginable. 40 times farther from the sun. Surface temperatures cold enough to freeze air solid. Pluto shouldn't be alive. But it is. Alan Stern, New Horizons principal investigator, said, "The solar system saved the best for last." And here's the haunting realization. Pluto isn't unique. There are thousands of dwarf planets and icy worlds beyond Neptune. Frozen kingdoms we've never seen. Worlds that might be just as strange, just as active, just as alive. If Pluto can surprise us this much, what else is waiting in the outer solar system? New Horizons is still out there, traveling deeper into the Kuiper belt. Its power source is fading. By the 2030s, it'll go dark, but it's carrying human names, images of Earth, and the ashes of Clyde Tombaugh, the astronomer who discovered Pluto in 1930. One day, millions of years from now, it might drift into another star system, and if anyone finds it, they'll see images of Pluto, a world we declared unworthy, a world that turned out to be extraordinary. So the next time someone tells you Pluto isn't a planet, remember this: Pluto doesn't need our validation. It's out there right now, its heart beating, its mountains floating, its red snow falling, its hidden ocean swirling beneath ancient ice. Pluto is a king in exile, and we're only just beginning to understand what we lost when we cast it out. The 25th of June, 2024, Inner Mongolia. A capsule streaks through the atmosphere and parachutes down inside. Nearly 2 kilograms of rocks from a place no human had ever touched. The far side of the moon. China just pulled off what NASA, Russia, and every other space agency failed to do for 65 years. They landed on the far side, collected samples, brought them home, and what they found is rewriting everything we thought we knew about the moon. For all of human history, we've stared at the same face of the moon. The other half, completely hidden. Locked away by tidal locking, the moon's rotation matches its orbit, so one side permanently faces Earth. The far side remained a total mystery until 1959, when Soviet Luna 3 sent back grainy photos. What those photos showed shocked everyone. The near side has dark plains, ancient lava seas, but the far side, only 1% lava. The rest is absolutely destroyed, cratered beyond recognition. The two sides look nothing alike. For decades, scientists could only guess why. They mapped it, photographed it, but nobody had rocks, nobody had proof. Until China's Chang'e 4 landed there in January 2019, first landing ever. They deployed the U-2 rover and started exploring. But the far side faces away from Earth permanently, no direct communication. So China launched a relay satellite that sits in space, acting as a bridge. Brilliant. Chang'e 4 found weird minerals and buried volcanic rock. But China wanted actual samples. So they launched Chang'e 6 inches, May 2024. June 1st, 2024. Chang'e 6 touches down in the South Pole Aitken Basin, the biggest impact crater in the entire solar system, 2,500 kilometers wide, formed 4.25 billion years ago when a planet-sized asteroid slammed into the moon with the force of 1 trillion atomic bombs. For 2 days, Chang'e 6 drilled and scooped. It collected 1,935 grams of lunar material. Then it launched back to orbit and headed home. June 25th, the capsule landed. The first samples ever returned from the far side. China opened those containers and found something nobody predicted. Fragments of water-bearing asteroids making up 30% of the samples. These CI chondrites are so fragile they almost never survive hitting Earth's atmosphere. But on the moon, preserved for billions of years. Why does this matter? These asteroids are loaded with water, and the discovery proves water-bearing asteroids bombarded the early moon and Earth billions of years ago. Scientists believe these asteroids may have delivered the water that filled Earth's oceans. The water that made life possible. China just found the smoking gun. But that's not all. Chinese scientists analyzed the volcanic basalt and dated it to 2.83 billion years old, proof that volcanic activity on the far side lasted way longer than anyone thought. and the chemical composition showed these rocks formed at temperatures 100 degrees Celsius cooler than near-side rocks. The far side's interior is colder than the near side. The moon has a temperature asymmetry running through its entire mantle. Then, in October 2025, they measured the water content of the far side's mantle for the first time. It's drastically lower than the near side. The two sides aren't just different on the surface, they're different all the way down. Why? The South Pole Aitken impact. That colossal collision redistributed the moon's internal heat. The explosion caused the mantle to overturn, concentrating heat on the near side while leaving the far side depleted. Over billions of years, the near side became volcanically active. The far side became cold and dead. But here's the discovery turning lunar science upside down. In January 2026, Chinese scientists revealed they'd found creep basalt fragments dating back 4.2 billion years, the oldest creep basalt ever discovered. Creep stands for potassium, rare earth elements, and phosphorus radioactive materials that drive volcanic activity. Before Chang'e 6, creep was only found on the near side. Scientists thought it didn't exist on the far side. China just proved otherwise. The presence of both 4.2 billion year old creep-rich basalt and 2.8 billion year old creep-poor basalt means something fundamental changed in the moon's magma source over 1.4 billion years. The far side's geology is way stranger than anyone imagined. Chinese scientists also detected extreme potassium isotope variations way higher than Apollo samples. They confirmed the South Pole Aitken impact altered the isotope composition deep in the lunar mantle. The explosion created temperatures so extreme it vaporized lighter isotopes. For the first time, they obtained ancient magnetic field data from the far side, revealing the moon's magnetic field may have rebounded billions of years ago, critical for understanding how the moon's core evolved. Now, here's what should make you pay attention. China is sharing some of this data. They've invited foreign scientists to analyze samples. 10 international teams, including 5 from the US, presented proposals in Wuhan. But there's a but. All experimental work happens in Chinese labs. Foreign scientists participate in writing papers, but they don't get direct access to the physical samples. They rely on China's published findings, and Chinese researchers are publishing groundbreaking discoveries at a rapid pace. 4 major studies in Nature alone. Professor Mahesh Anand from the UK said these findings are turning many well-established hypotheses in lunar science upside down, necessitating re-examination of many theories. China is rewriting lunar science with exclusive access. Now, let's talk about what's really happening. China isn't just exploring for science. They're building an international lunar research station near the South Pole. Russia, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Pakistan, all signed on. Chang'e 7 launches in 2026 to survey for water ice. Chang'e 8 follows in 2028 to test resource extraction, learning how to live off the land. NASA's Bill Nelson has warned this is a new space race. He's concerned China might claim territory and say, "This is ours, stay out." International space law is murky. The Outer Space Treaty doesn't address resource extraction or territorial control of research stations. And the far side? Most valuable real estate in the solar system. Why? It's radio silent. Earth's billions of radio transmissions are completely blocked by the moon. It's the quietest place in the inner solar system. Perfect for radio telescopes, listening to faint cosmic signals. NASA plans to place a radio telescope on the far side in 2027, But China's already there. They've already landed. Twice. Here's what China discovered that they're not emphasizing. The far side preserves a better record of ancient solar system history than Earth. Earth has plate tectonics. Crust gets recycled. Craters erode. The moon? No atmosphere. No erosion. Craters from 4 billion years ago are still there, untouched. And those water-bearing asteroid fragments? They suggest water delivery to Earth was way more common than we thought. These impacts may have seeded our oceans, made life possible. China found evidence of humanity's origin story buried in lunar dust. But here's the question nobody's asking. What else is in those samples that China hasn't published yet? What are they finding that they're keeping classified? Because make no mistake, space exploration is strategic. China's not doing this just for science. They're doing it for resources, territory, leverage, and they're winning. So what is China hiding on the dark side of the moon? Maybe nothing. Maybe everything they've found is already published. Or maybe they're sitting on discoveries that will change everything. Discoveries about water, resources, ancient impacts, the moon's formation. We won't know until they decide to tell us.
And what
by
they
then,
found is rewriting everything
they'll already
we
be
thought we
building
knew about
bases,
the moon. For all of human
extracting
history, we've
resources,
stared-
claiming the high ground. The far side isn't dark anymore. China turned on the lights, and what they found is rewriting everything.